Hi everyone, Gainer here and welcome back to my computer screen recording. So today's topic is about selling your HDB and buying two condos. And I believe that you probably see, many advertisements on all these things. And the most important key thing is how you are able to do it financially and yet stress-free, right? So that's why today's video is really going to break down everything to the lowest dollar so that you can understand how it's being done, right? But of course, before we proceed with this, there are three main things that you really have to understand. Now, the very first thing is, of course, you need to sell a HDB flat, because I do understand that quite a lot of people are, emotionally attached to their properties, and that's why they find it difficulty for them to proceed with this plan, right? The second thing, or the second factor, is definitely the cash proceeds and CPF funds that you'll be receiving after you sell your property, right? Because without all these things, without proceeds, without the CPF funds, you won't be able to use these funds to regenerate or reinvest into two properties, right? Now, the very last thing is, whether you have your own personal savings that you can also use for the property investments as well. Now, I've seen some cases whereby, some owners, after they sell their place, they totally do not have any cash proceeds or CPF funds, right? But however, they have some savings, right? And with these savings, they still can, proceed with this plan, right? So without further ado, let me proceed with the financial calculation, okay? Okay, so for the very first slide you will be seeing is the selling of your HDB flat, the financial calculation. Now, for this instance, I will use the selling price of a typical HDB flat to be at $470,000. Now, in fact, I also sold my place for $470,000, right? And for the HDB flat, you probably have your outstanding loan. So if you have an outstanding loan of $20,000, and probably you have used or the husband has used the CPF plus interest of $145,000, and the wife has used the CPF plus interest of $60,000. So if I use $470,000 to minus the outstanding loan, minus the total CPF funds plus accrued interest used, and minus the legal fees, and minus of course the agent commission, you will have a balance of cash proceeds of $234,000. And you add up the cash and CPF funds, you have a total of $439,000, right? Then this will be used for your next two properties investment. But before we go there, before we go to that, we will have to go through the next important slide, which is the total funds as well. Because why? We have to include also the existing amount of CPF in your ordinary account. Now, for this instance, I'm using myself as an example. I have a total CPF funds of $150,000 in my ordinary account. And as for my wife, she has $150,000 as well. So total CPF funds that I have is $295,000, because I have to add this. I have $145,000 that comes from the sales of my flat, right? And my wife will have $210,000. Now, in fact, I have a personal cash savings of $150,000 as well. So if I add the total cash is $384,000, and for the CPF is $505,000. So in total, I have in fact $889,000 of cash and CPF funds that I can use for my two property investments, right? So I think this is actually a very healthy figure, right? In fact, at this juncture, I just would like to point out that a lot of people, they really didn't go deep into their financial calculation, and they didn't realize that in fact they have quite a lot of funds for them to play with, right? So I think this is something that you really have to look into as well. So now let's take a look at if we are going to proceed with two property purchase. Now, for this instance, the husband, which is me, I'll be going to buy a $1 million property. Now, so what is the down payment? I have to fulfill a 5% cash down payment of $50,000. Now I have to, 20% will be CPF, which is $200,000. Now I also have to pay stamp duty and legal costs, which I just round off to be $30,000. Total down payment for me to purchase a $1 million will be $280,000. Now, of course, I'll be left with a loan of $750,000. And if I break it down, my monthly installments will be $2,800, will be based on a 30-year loan tenure and a 2% interest rate, right? Now, as for my wife, she'll be going to purchase a $750,000 condo investment, which is probably a resale, right? And 5% cash will be $37,500. 20% CPF will be this amount. Now, stamp duty and legal costs will be $30,000. Total down payment will be $217,500, right? And the loan will be $562,500, right? So the monthly installments will be $2,100, which is still the same based on a 30-year loan tenure and based on a 2% interest rate, right? Now, for this, after we purchase both $1 million and $750,000, we just have to take note that the total down payment is $280,000 plus $217,000, right? Total will be $497,500. Now the balance, you still remember I have a balance of $889,000. Now after I deduct the total down payment which I used to purchase a $1 million property and a $750,000, I will have a balance of $391,500. Now this will be a healthy figure. Why? Because this is actually, the figure is for my rainy days, which is a mixture of cash and CPF. So I mean, there'll be times whereby I need these figures, this balance funds for rainy days, right? Now this will be $391,000 of balance funds that I have. Now what will be the total monthly loan installments, right, for both the $1 million property and the $750,000 property? Now total add up, 2,800 plus 2,001 will be $4,900, right? And one thing for sure, a lot of people when they see this figure, right, they will be very afraid, right? Because previously I owned a HDB flat and my monthly installment is only maybe $1,000, and that is a figure that I can manage, that everyone can manage. But now this $1,000 figure balloon to $4,900, because of course I'll be buying two properties, right? $1 million and $750,000, and the total monthly installments is $4,900, right? Now in fact this is now the real deal, right? Because both of us, both husband and wife are working. So assume that both are working, we will have CPF funds coming into our ordinary account, right? And for this instance, on the average, everyone, the husband will have 1,003 and the wife will have 1,003. That's why the monthly installments we have to deduct $2,600. And what will be the balance? The balance will be $2,300. Now this is the figure that we have to top up, right? Now of course I reduced 4,009 minus this, and this will be a much lower figure. Now of course at this point of time, some people will be able to accept this, but some will still think that this is a huge figure that I couldn't afford, right? But hey, there's one thing that we have to take note. Remember that the wife actually bought a $750,000 investment property which can be rented out, right? So let's take for example that I rent this investment property for $1,500. So what will be the balance amount that I need to top up? In fact, I only have to top up $800 per month, right? $800 per month for me to own two properties, right? So if I can summarize this whole entire purchase, right? The husband bought $1 million condo, can be a resale, and the wife bought a $750,000, which is for rental. The balance funds that they have is $391,000, and the monthly installments that they only have to take note is $800. Why? as long as both parties, both husband and wife, continue to work, they will have $2,600 of CPF funds coming into their account, which they can use to offset the installments. And if one of the investment property, which is for rental, has a conservative of $1,500 for rental, they only have to top up $800 per month. So can you imagine, you just have to top up $800 per month and you are still able to own two properties, right? So that's why, I really break it down to the lowest dollar, that you can really see why, someone or why a family is able to upgrade from their HDB flat to own two property investment, and yet financially it can be stress-free, right? Now, of course, I want to put this disclaimer. Now, this is just only a example, because if you really are very keen to look into how you are able to do this, everyone, the figures are different, because the HDB that you own, the amount is different, the CPF funds is different, your monthly income, which is your gross income, can be different. So everyone, the financial, details is different. So bottom line, if you are really very interested, you can probably, ask me more questions, or probably just give me a ring, and I will gladly help you to really understand how you can do this, right? And also, one very important thing as well. Now, a lot of people felt that, hey, I know how to do it financially, I know how to break it down. But we have to understand, from a HDB to buy two condos is a very huge decision to make. And these two condos, ultimately we have to spot the right condo investment, because these two properties has to make money for you as well. So this is something that people neglected, and eventually they bought the wrong properties, right? And eventually I think they made a wrong choice as well. So one thing first, I think it's important for you to seek professional advice. And with that, I really hope that, if you have further inquiries, just give me a ring. And I hope that this video tutorial actually breaks everything down, and so that you can really understand how it's really being done, right? So with that, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you like it. Thanks.